Hello.
Hi.
How's everybody doing today? We have switched things up a bit, haven't we? I am pretty sure it's because I was supposed to post a TED Talk last week, and I forgot. I think this is my punishment. He's making me do it now. Okay, here we go. Hey, handsome. Are you ready for some inspiration?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here you go. Resilience is not what happens to you. It's how you react to, respond to, and recover from what happens to you. This is Wood and Ash. Welcome to Mental Policing.
I will call all the bluffs, 'cause using bodies isn't good enough. Slow down, this ain't love. Well, we fell apart just in time. Ooh, you say at least it was worth a try.
Oh, that was a very abrupt end to the music. Apologies.
It's okay. We're doing things totally different. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm a little confused. I don't know what Okay, I came across an article.
First, before you get
yes.
started, sorry. As you said in the intro, we switched places. I took some constructive criticism and was told I ought to look at the camera more, so I'm going to do that.
Which feels weird
Okay,
because
go.
I'm still going to look at you, but you're going to be looking at the camera. So I'll look at you
Okay.
while you look at them.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm ready.
Okay. So I came across an article today, and I'm going to share it with everybody. This is, yes. So it is by Coach Kim. I don't know if anybody reads her articles,
She can be found on KSL.com.
KSL, yes.
That's Utah local. If you're unfamiliar, those of you listening out of state and out of country, just type in KSL.com.
And Coach Kim.
And it's Coach Kim's article.
Her website is claritypointcoaching.com.
Mm-hmm.
She actually does a really good job. I love it. I follow them every week. I read them every week. So this one was called Beware the Meanings You're Applying to Life Situations. So basically, we've all heard the saying, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it.
Mm-hmm.
So how you react to life, it's you change the way you think to react to life in a more positive way. So it's you give less meaning to things that happen. I fall into the self-deprecating trap daily, and we've talked about this before on this podcast. In fact, last week we were mentioning
we
it
did.
as well.
About happiness.
Yes.
Mhm.
So this kind of goes right along with it.
It does.
It's finding happiness. You don't have control over what happens to you. You only have control of how you react to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you give everything that happens to you a story, and depending on the story is how you, if it's a positive story or a negative story. We keep having the same belief thoughts, and negative ideas that keep making us miserable. These go-to perspectives and beliefs are deeply ingrained, which makes them easy and natural to keep using. So you just fall back to it. So you have to practice. You have to start by changing the way you think. And after time, it becomes your reality.
Yes, and maybe I'm jumping ahead on you. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's a part in there where it says, so every day you're given certain things that happen to you. You don't have control of those. For example, they used one about you're turning onto the highway and somebody cuts you off. So you have an option. You have a choice in that moment on how you want to react to that. Do you get upset because that jerk cut you off? Or do you let it go and you don't let it bother you? Because that one event isn't and shouldn't be so significant that it ruins
Right.
the rest of your day and the rest of the outcome.
Yes. We were discussing this last night, actually, which ironically, I came across this article this morning after our conversation last night because I was coming apart like I typically do at the end of the night when I'm exhausted and teething babies and 7-year-olds and dogs. Anyway, so, and he made a good point saying that stuff like this is going to happen all the time. It's life things. Life happens all the time. There's always going to be dishes. There's always going to be laundry. There's always going to be dog poop you have to pick up outside. There's always going to be things. It's how you just have to one moment at a time. Speaking of dogs, he's going to come hang out with us.
Yeah. So like you're saying, there's always something. There's always the
Yes.
next thing. There's always laundry. I saw a funny meme today that said it was an infinity symbol, and it said below the symbol for laundry. Yeah, because there's always going to be laundry. You can get upset about it, but guess what? There's still going to be laundry. Maybe throw a fit about it for a moment, but ultimately, should it ruin your day? No, it shouldn't.
No.
Because just like there's always going to be laundry, there's always going to be another day.
So stop giving
Mm-hmm.
meaning to nothing.
Yes.
Nothing means anything. Nothing means anything. How did you say it earlier?
Nothing means, and I don't know now. Now I'm in the loop of what you're saying.
No.
Nothing means anything.
I think we said that over and over and over again. For
Yeah,
like
trying to
5
figure out-
minutes.
If you think about what that means, it's really hard to process.
Yeah,
Nothing means anything.
that took me a while this morning too.
Mm-hmm.
So, the problem or negative feelings about these facts in your life occurs when you immediately apply meaning or a story to these events. Whatever that meaning is what makes you miserable. In truth, you have the power to sit back and see what happens as just an actuality without applying any meaning or story around it. Or you can choose a story that serves you and is healthy. So you can choose to give it a story, but a healthier one.
Right. I used to get angry when people would cut. Like, I go back to the traffic. I used to get angry when people cut me off in traffic. And sometimes when they do, I'll still call them a name or I'll say something, smart alecky. But then I let it go because I've learned now that I've gotten older that it doesn't matter. And how many people have I cut off and done the same thing too?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I make the choice not to let it bother me anymore. So I think that's what we're talking about with all those things.
Absolutely. Yes. This doesn't mean anything. I must be careful about the meaning I apply to this. It could mean something very different than I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it happens all the time at work. Same thing. At home, something so innocent can be taken wrong just because that person is having a bad day. And we've had those moments, like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
where something is taken completely out of context because of the garbage that's going on in your own brain.
Right.
And
because this is mental policing, and typically, at least from my perspective and point of view on this, is how do we apply this to our work, my work, policing, law enforcement? How does this apply? Much like last episode, where we talked about happiness, we choose whether we want to be, in a lot of cases, whether we want to be happy or not. We can find the joy in things. This is very much the same way. We can choose to be offended by a lot of things. We can also choose to not be offended by it at all. And we do a pretty good job as law enforcement to let a lot of things the public do and say roll off our back. We do a really good job at it. What we don't do a good job at is in-house, and those that we are closest with, when they say something to us, we allow it to affect us negatively way more than it should. And so
Yes.
it's something we ought to practice more in the work home, if you will, and not allow people's comments and people's opinions, or somebody wants to do something one way and you don't agree with it, you want to do it a different way. We shouldn't allow that to dictate our happiness and our outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all perspective. It's all in perspective. It doesn't need to be an flimsy or it doesn't need to be a bad yeah, anyway. Whatever. You know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So here's an exercise to help you find some of your ingrained belief thoughts, and you can kind of get to the root of the problem, or not the problem, but the root of your negative thoughts.
Okay.
You can start changing your thoughts, but it's important to know where they're all coming from. You typically come from a fear, or so it's a pattern in your story, essentially. And so it's like it could be thoughts like people always let me down, or I'm just not enough, I'm on my own, nobody cares.
So usually the thing that triggers us or makes us unhappy or upset or whatever, usually that thing that triggers us is rooted in something deeper than just that, essentially.
Yes. So they're not facts, they're belief thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just story options. There are always many other options that might serve you better. So
we're also told that over here, typically, hold on, I gotta get closer. Typically childhood programming.
yes, absolutely.
Very much so.
Very much so. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, subconscious beliefs that you adopted in childhood often determine the kind of stories you create, is exactly what the article said. So, yes, I agree. You may have experienced something that made you think, I'm not loved, or I'm not good enough, I'm not safe. Ugh, I'm so bad at that. Not safe, but not good enough. I know we're all our worst enemies, but
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so go back to the exercise, Ashley. The exercise to help you find some of your ingrained beliefs. First, you ask yourself what you are afraid of and make a list. Take each fear and ask yourself what is going to happen if that happens. What would happen if that happens? And the third step is ask yourself what it is going to mean if that happens, and what does that mean?
So just a step after a step after a step.
Yes.
What are your next 3 steps you're going to take? But it makes sense, because if you just if I say, okay, the next time somebody cuts me off, I'm not going to get mad. Well, that's pretty vague. But that's not a step. That's not a process on how I'm going to overcome that and how I'm going to be better going ahead in the future. And so I realized that some of my anger towards people cutting me off as a kid is because that's also some learned behavior there too. For when I was a kid, I saw that a lot. And so now I know the steps I got to do, the processes I have to work out in my head. And sometimes it's quite a process.
Yeah, what is
especially if I'm hangry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's okay. You just keep asking these questions until you can see a core fear belief behind them. If that same fear or idea show up almost every time? Once you have identified your most common fear throughout story. Oh, thought story. I don't know how to read. It's fine. Let me try it again. Once you have identified your most common fear thought story, watch yourself whenever something happens to see if you are applying that same story again. We all have a favorite story or belief thought that we are over applying all the time. It is important to find and be aware of yours, because it is the first step towards change.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess I never really thought that I would repeat something over and over thinking it's helping, and it might not be. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's and people, I think we see it all the time. If you know someone, everybody knows someone that's negative a lot
Yeah.
or negative all the time. And it's like it's a cycle. It's a stuck cycle. They just keep thinking negative thoughts, and you're like, man, it's not that bad. But they
Yeah.
keep thinking it's that bad. So
Change it up.
so you can also start playing with the belief thought that the universe is on your side and helping to serve and grow you. Helping to serve you and grow your person,
Yeah.
make you a better person. So everything is a lesson, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like you learn a lesson from it. The universe is giving it to you so you can grow and be better and change.
Very much so.
But all of this, changing your stories and meanings, will take time and work. But you can start today by applying these new beliefs, giving it a go, changing your thoughts one moment at a time,
Yes.
changing your life one thought at a time.
It's a conscious decision
Yes.
on where you want to go, what you want to do. We're told that
You want my glasses?
reprogramming that stuff is hard work, but it is rewarding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very important because it helps make life so much better, not only for you, but the people around you.
Yes, and don't forget, like I said, and like has been mentioned, childhood traumas. Those of us that have children, if we're not working to better ourselves and correct those problems, we're just going to pass those problems down
Such a
to
great
the
point.
next generation. So,
Absolutely. More
we need to
learned
watch it.
behavior.
Mhm.
That is such
Yes.
a good point.
and I think, again, because I want to apply this to policing, there are issues within law enforcement, and it's our responsibility as the current generation of law enforcement officers to adapt these changes and work on ourselves, number one, work on our departments, work on our coworkers, and extended blue family, if you will, for lack of a better term, but people understand the broadness of that. But it's up to us to start to change that now so that future generations of police officers aren't repeating the same problems. Whatever that is, whatever your department has an issue with, it's up to you now to start fixing that so that doesn't repeat. It's the same. It applies within your own life, and it also applies within law enforcement itself in the job. And so I have to bring it back because, well,
Mental
this is
policing.
mental policing. So,
So remember, when you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. And that's where your power is. So this is Wood.
oh, and Dash.
And
And-
this-
I have one more thought though. Remember, if you're parachuting and your chute doesn't open, you have the rest of your life to figure it out.
and this is mental policing.
We'll see you on the next one. We gotta say bye.
Oh, bye.
Okay. All right. We'll give, so that ends there. We'll just see if there's anyone else. So that was Christy over here chatting. Hi, Christy. Thanks for sticking around.
Thank you, Christy.
Now we had Brianna and Laney at least over here.
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Oh, and Gwenna. Hello, Gwenna.
Oh, hi, Gwenna.
I don't know if she's
Auntie
still there,
Gwenna?
but she's there.
I would love to meet her one day.
She has to come visit. I don't know if she's gonna reply. Anyway. Oh, I should do this during the show, but I don't.
Addie Bands.
Addie Bands. Remember, I'm gonna post it on the Facebooks here.
Remember the Addie Bands.
Yeah. Instagram.com/Addie bands.
She does such a good job, and she loves doing it.
Oopsie.
She really enjoys it. It's very artistic.
ADDIBANDS.
She just made a light pink sparkly one. It was very pretty. It is very pretty.
Instagram. Man. My eyes are struggling. Oh, Gwenna to say hi.
Hi.
Oh, it finally popped up.
Oh,
We was
good
having
job.
issues, but it's not anymore. So we're trying. We're figuring it out.
Thank you, Aunt Gwenna.
One episode at a time. We're trying to figure this out. Just trying to be a little bit better today than tomorrow. Or
Better-
tomorrow than today.
we're-
Whatever.
We're going to be better today than we did yesterday.
That one.
That one.
I know all the things.
One moment at a time.
So
We're figuring it out, too. It's okay. That's life. That's normal.
so
It's messy.
thank you for watching, everybody. And this will repost if you want to watch the video version of it. I mean, that's good. Make sure you hit like, throw a heart on the Instagrams, like it over there. Tell people to also follow. We're trying to get our numbers up just a little bit, just to help push this.
It helps make us feel better.
Yeah, it also pushes the word out because there are not
Yeah.
mental health podcasts really out there.
True.
People talk about it here and there, but there's not one dedicated to it. And I would like to expand our audience and get more guests on that have something else to contribute. So if you know people, please push the word out there. Let them know. Hit the like and all that. And if you are tired of me staring directly at the camera way too much, then you can listen to this audio only on any podcast catcher that's out there, and it'll post up here in about an hour as just audio only. So there's that, if that's what you'd like to do. So if you just tuned in, which a couple did here, we're wrapping up, but you can go back and listen, whether that be on Instagram
Please do.
or on Facebook or YouTube for that matter. And for my gamer friends, we're even on Twitch. So how about that?
How about that?
So anyway, we're going to go because, again, it's late. And I'm sure the baby will be waking up for no apparent reason, just to make it
Just for
hard
fun.
for us. So anyway, with that, guys, we will see y'all later.
Bye.